Um, it's now recorded, and again, if you you can, yeah, okay, you can switch off your video. I'll also do the same thing to help with the internet weight, and hopefully this will be lighter for our internet. Okay. Right. So in the previous session, we discussed about segmentation and targeting. Okay, remember, um, it is actually a strategic decision for us to um, look at which target market that we want to compete. Okay, so therefore we need to specify a target market, either segmentation on either it is going to be in B2B industry or B2C industry. Okay, so we need to specify the target market. Now, I would also like to highlight again to everybody that if you work in the B2B environment in your for your assessment, and of course for your organization, the variables that you want to use to describe your target market is different to B2C organizations or B2 consumer business to consumers organizations. All right. Right. Now, after we decide the our target markets, the next thing that we need to decide is the um, positioning strategy. Now, this one here is the overall positioning strategy. Okay, so we need to decide the value proposition. In other words, the value proposition is actually defined as a set of benefits that we promise to deliver for customers. Okay, so that's value proposition. That is the concept of value proposition. Okay, now from the customer perspective, the benefits is always judged by the price. Okay, think about yourself. Okay, you are customers of any products or services. Okay, so when you purchase something, you will be judging the benefit of the product or service with the price that you are going to pay for. Okay, therefore, if you look at these two variables, the price and benefits, we actually say value proposition is actually the ratio between benefit and price, or price by benefits. Okay, um, and we have based on these two variables, we have nine possible options that we can take to decide which value proposition that we want to adopt. Okay, now out of these nine, we also need to know that four in the middle here are basically the losers, right? In other words, it's hard for us to win. It's hard for us to win the customers if we offer less benefit with higher price, for instance. So we offer something, let's say, bad quality, for instance, worse quality than our competitors. If we compare the products with our competitors' products, okay, and we charge higher price, for instance, okay, and it will also be harder actually for us to win the consumers if we offer the same thing with the same price, okay, because the consumers will ask, okay, why do I want to buy your product if eventually I get the same thing from the current products that I'm purchasing. Okay, we have more opportunities if we offer more benefits to justify higher price. Okay, more for more. Okay, so you may recall that Mercedes and BMW, for instance, have been competing in the premium car industry, for instance, and then Ferrari, Porsche came into the market offering more, okay, with higher price. Okay, in pen industry, for instance, you can also look at Montblanc offering more for more. Okay, and we have the opportunity to win the consumers if we offer more benefits for the same price. Okay, so in here we are showing the consumers we are more value for money because we offer more things, more benefits, stronger benefits for the consumers, whilst we charge the same price. Okay, and we also, if we can offer the more benefits with less price from the customer perspective, that's perfect. Okay, you can look at, for instance, brands like Lexus, for instance, they offer more things, more features, more benefits, and they charge less price to compare with the other top marques. Okay, and the same for less, same benefits that we offer with less price, with cheaper price is not an option. So, for instance, if you look at Aldi, for instance, in Australia, they offer the same benefits. I'm not talking about the same brands. Okay, they may use their a different brand, their own brands basically, but they offer cheaper price for the consumers. Okay, and last one is the less for much less. So you offer less benefits, and the price that you're charging the customers much less. The prices are much less to your competitors' prices. Okay, so as an example, if you look at the reject shop, for instance, they admit that look, that we are not offering you top level of quality, but we're offering you much cheaper price. Okay, or the $2 shop, for instance. Okay, as another example. Okay, so we offer, that's what we offer for the customers. We do not promise to offer higher benefits or same. We don't offer. In fact, we don't offer the same benefits. We just offer less benefits for much less. Okay. So there's some options. Remember, this is just the overall positioning strategy. Okay, this is just the overall promise that we want to convey for the consumers. Okay, we need to specify that. Okay, therefore we need to decide the positioning strategy. Okay, this is the promise when we enter the market. This is the promise that we want to convey for the consumers. Okay, so how do we define positioning? It is actually the way the product is defined by the consumers based on its important attributes. Okay, so where do we know? How do we know the important attributes? It's research. It's defined by the consumers. Okay. In other words, it is actually the specific place that the product occupies in the consumer's mind relatively in the competition. Okay, so that's what we mean by positioning. Okay, now to establish the positioning, we need to have, there are several steps now, and this slide actually shows you that how you define BMW should be different to how you define VW. Okay, the way they communicate the brands to the customers would also be different. Okay, remember, we also discussed about consistency in global positioning strategy sometime in the previous sessions. All right, so you can also consider that as a part of the strategy. Okay, so you need to when you enter the market, then you need to think about what is the positioning strategy that you want to maintain in the competition. That's the one that you want to make sure that it is consistent across the board. Okay, right. So this is the first thing that you need to consider when it comes to positioning strategy. We need to think about the differentiation. How do we differentiate our brand, right? When we enter the market, how do we differentiate it, right? What is differentiation? It is actually differentiating the offering in the competition to create superior value, right? To create competitive advantage. Okay, so that's differentiation. Now, experts suggest we can refer to the product differentiation. So we differentiate the product through offering different features, performance, style, or design. You can think about Apple products, for instance. Okay, so they develop that and they expand the business globally. Okay, and using the same message. Okay, these are the key product differentiation that I'm offering. Now, it is interesting when they launch iPhone 5C, for instance, that's what they claim as the cheaper option. They actually anticipate, in their defense, they claim that that product is actually to anticipate the Chinese market, which is basically asking for a cheaper price. Okay, so they expand the business in that way. Okay, and services differentiation, which is basically about speedy, convenient, or careful delivery for consumers, right? So that's how we differentiate ourselves as well. Channel differentiation is about how we reach the consumers, how we cover the consumers. Okay, and people differentiation, how we hire and train people. Okay, so these people will actually deliver the service for the customers. Okay. And lastly, the image differentiation, which is basically creating certain brand image in the consumer's mind that is different to the others, right? Now, from business practice perspective, the other differentiation point that we can consider is price, okay? There are some companies that are quite big in terms of price differentiation, such as Walmart, for instance. When they expand the business, they actually focus more on the EDLP, everyday low price, okay? So now there are pluses and minuses in every strategy that we take. The EDLP or everyday low price actually requires us to be able to maintain the low cost operation. Okay, otherwise it's hard for us to compete in the industry. We claim to be affordable, but input cost keeps increasing. Therefore, we need to develop that kind of capability in the industry, whether we can have the ability of running the operation to generate low cost for the consumers. Okay. All right. So that's basically the differentiation variables, which is basically the starting point when it comes to generating the positioning strategy. Okay. Now, the other thing I'd like to discuss is the positioning map. This is also part of the initial process for us to develop our own positioning strategy. The positioning map is actually the visualization of the visualized representation of the competitive brands in the consumer's mind. So we're kind of mapping the consumer's mind, and we put the competitive brands in the map. Okay. Now this is probably oversimplified because in real life we may have different variables. Here we have two variables or attributes: the social acceptability and sweetness. Okay. In real life we may have more than two attributes. Okay. So you can ask yourself, when it comes to certain industries, either soft drink or biscuits or heavy equipment, for instance, your customers may have a range of attributes that are related to their needs. Okay, then you can map each brand in that industry according to their expertise. Okay, so that's how we create the positioning map. Okay, so look, for your assessment when it comes to positioning strategy, please start with the positioning map. You map the competitive brands in the market, in the market. Okay, either B2B market or B2C markets. Okay, and you locate where the each brand sits in the consumer's mind. This is basically the consumer's mind. Okay. So here, based on this map, actually, we can say that the Coca-Cola company holds the majority of the hold the a large market share because the size of the bubble is the largest. Okay, and it is actually the leader in terms of social acceptability. Okay. And Pepsi, another global brand, actually is the leader in terms of sweetness. If you are launching a new brand, I should have changed the color, the font color here. Actually, the Solo. If you launch a new brand and you say, I want my brand to be perceived as quite high in terms of social acceptability, then you need to think about what needs to be done to make your brand higher than Coke in terms of social acceptability? Okay, so you need to think that way. Okay, think about BMW and Mercedes, for instance. If you put in quality and price, for instance, they captured high price, high quality, and then when you want to launch new brand and you want to be higher than that, then you need to define your strategy. What are the attributes? What are the key features from product strategy, for instance, that you need to deliver in order to be better in terms of high quality? So you need to be higher in terms of quality and higher in terms of price as well. Okay, therefore these guys create what I call as the a very unique top marques like Porsche and Ferrari, for instance, and Lamborghini, for instance. Okay, it's more fashion. It's the power of the engine and so on and so forth. Okay, so they redefine the word premium in that industry. Okay, so that is the challenge if you want to overtake Coke's position in terms of social acceptability. So you need to be better. You need to redefine what social acceptability means. Okay, and the next one is the other option is for you to be higher in terms of sweetness. Then you are going to compete with another global brand in here, right? In this instance, Pepsi. Okay, so the other thing that we also need to be aware of is perception is hard to change. Okay, so we can try to influence it, but it takes it takes resources like dollars to finance that, and to finance the education for the consumers. And the second one is the time as well. Through consistency that we build over time, then we can capture that finally. Okay, but again, that is probably challenging, and because again, perception is not easy to change, right? So probably the best way is for us to avoid those two global brands to create our own position. Okay, so yes, we are going to be considered as low in terms of social acceptability and low in terms of sweetness. So with that, we avoid those two big brands in the market. Okay, right. So guys, in terms of your positioning map, you can consider using, let's say, price and quality. Okay, this is price, high price, low price, and this is quality. And then you map all competitors or all brands, including your competitors and also your brands in that industry. Okay. Now, in saying that, again, there should be more than just two variables, but for our assessment, if you can at least look at these two variables, that's brilliant. Okay. That's fine. That is acceptable. Okay. And of course, we'll get these feedback from me that ideally you relate the variables or the attributes to what the customer's needs are. Okay. Right. Now, the other thing that I'd like to highlight to you is in terms of the positioning map again, make sure you do not put only one brand, your own brand, because if you put one brand, you are not drawing a map. Okay. As the name suggests, it is a map. Okay. So you need to have more than just one brand. If I tell you this is Sydney, okay, just one dot in there, like what you see, it doesn't tell us anything. It doesn't tell us anything. Okay. But if I tell you this is Sydney, this is Melbourne, then it tells you something. Okay. All right. So that is heading to the south. Okay. Therefore, we need, as the name suggests, it is a positioning map or perceptual map. Okay. So it has to show distance. It has to show location as well. All right. So please make sure that when you draw the map, you show the several brands, the major brands in the competition, including your brand. Okay. All right. Now, the positioning map is actually a bit, if you like, it is a bit abstract because it reflects our own vision, right? In the when we look into the consumer's mind, all right. The next thing that we need to do is to define a positioning statement. Now, what is a positioning statement? It is a statement that summarizes or encapsulates the company or brand positioning. Okay, so the previous concept, that concept that may be complicated, we summarize it. Okay, we summarize it into one statement. Now, this is the second thing that I'd like you to do when it comes to writing a positioning strategy. Okay, so this is the formula that that you want to use for your assessment as well. Why this formula? Because it is quite succinct. Okay, to what target market with what need. Your brand is what concept. This is the concept that you want to promise to deliver for your consumers, right? With what point of differentiation, all right? So if you look at that, this positioning actually links the positioning strategy, as we discussed some time ago, actually links the consumers or the target market with our brand. It is the bridge, okay, between us, the company, all right, what we want to offer for the consumers and the consumers itself, right? How it is linked, the concept that we offer actually links the two of us, okay? In other words, I think I discussed this some time ago that a positioning strategy is actually helping our consumer to make a decision, okay, through the concept that we explain to the consumers. All right. So on the other hand, that means positioning is actually a set of promise that we won't deliver. Okay. Because when we say we want to deliver something, we actually say we do not want to deliver the other thing. Okay, so it is a strategic decision. Okay, it is a trade-off from the business perspective. Okay, so if you, let's say, if you select your brand, if you decide your brand to be a premium positioning, you want to capture the premium positioning strategy. Okay, you want to offer something premium for your consumers, for your target market. You actually say you are not going to be cheap. Okay, so in other words, you promise premium. You need to deliver anything that your consumers believe to be premium, either the packaging, the price, the product quality, the brand, the level of service, all right, and anything depending on how the consumers define the concept premium. Okay. On the other hand, when you deliver that, you are actually telling your consumers, "Hey, I'm not cheap." Okay, if you come to my brand, if you select my brand, okay, don't expect that it will be cheap. I will never promise you it will be cheap. Okay. On the other side, if you say that you're a budget brand, okay, that's what you promise for the consumers. Then you deliver budgets. Okay, it should be, it should not be pricey. Okay, the price should be affordable. Okay. And well, of course, the quality should be a decent one, although it's not at the top level, but it does the job. Okay, it does the job. All right. If you are in an airline industry such as Ryanair, for instance, they offer budget airline in Europe. Okay, with 30-40 euros, you can fly overseas. Okay, from Ireland to any to overseas. Okay, 20-30 euros. Okay, which is quite cheap. Okay, but you don't offer, that brand doesn't offer a top level of service. Okay, so if the customers complain, "Hey, look, I don't get that service," well, too bad. We don't promise that to you. Okay, this is the reason why we are cheap. This is the reason why we offer you something cheap. But what we promise to you is to do the job, which is basically about to fly you from A to B. We don't offer you the other things. We only promise to you we will fly you from A to B. If you want the other things, if you want the other extra services, then you got to pay for it. Okay, unfortunately. Okay, so yes. Therefore, again, a positioning strategy actually helps the customers to make a decision, okay, based on their needs. Okay, it is a trade-off that both the company and also the consumers are selecting. Okay, so a trade-off. All right, if we select one, we don't select the others. The same thing for the consumers. Okay. Right now, I think I touch on that area a little bit. That whatever we promise for the consumers, we need to be able to deliver that. Okay, we need to ensure we can deliver the positioning strategy through our capability. Okay, we need to ensure that we have that capability to deliver that. Otherwise, we will not be able to deliver the promise for the consumers. Okay, so um, in in that regards, actually, we need to make sure before we convey the positioning strategy, we need to look at whether we have that capability as our assessment. Okay. In other words, the positioning strategy in here should be supported by the marketing mix variables that we need to offer for the consumers, right? Because the positioning is an abstract concept. It doesn't it lives in the consumer's mind, and the ones that the consumers can look at are basically the products, the price, the distribution, the placement, and the promotion that we offer for the consumers. Therefore, these four variables should support the positioning strategy. Okay, and we are going to discuss that marketing mix variables. Okay, to show how we can develop the marketing mix variables to support the positioning strategy. Okay, right. So this is one thing that we can consider in terms of assessment of the positioning strategy. Let's say we have two options of our positioning strategy when we want to enter this market. All right. Well, in our home market, we may have different positioning strategy. Yes, we have the option of maintaining consistency. That's one option. The other option is to be, to stretch our boundary a little bit, okay, as the second option. And each option needs to be assessed based on our capabilities to deliver the marketing mix variables. Remember, the marketing mix variables that we design should support each option of the positioning strategy. Okay, so for instance, in our home market, it is positioned as a daily brand. Okay, as a mainstream brand where consumers just go to the grocery store or the supermarket and they buy the products and they use the products on daily basis. Okay, on a more regular basis. Okay, and in the house market, we may find, hang on a second, the purchase power in there is different to our home market. Okay, so that's an option. Okay, that is the second option, whether we want to position the brand as more like aspirational type of brand because it is quite expensive. Okay, due to the purchase power of the house market. Okay, so that's the second option that you need to juggle. Okay, from there you need to assess the product. Okay, from product perspective, is it easy enough for you to manage? Then you need to state that whether it is easy, moderate, or hard for you to manage it. Okay, from pricing perspective, you need to assess the strategy as well, whether it is easy, moderate, or hard, and placement, the distribution level, and also the promotional campaign. Okay, and overall, you need to state whether it is going to be easy, moderate, or hard for each option. Okay, now there is a case actually like L'Oreal, for instance. If you look at that brand, it is a French toiletries brand. They in France, their home market, it is actually a daily brand. Okay? Consumers just go to the supermarkets and buy the brands, right? And it is in large pack size. Okay, similar to Australian market. If you look at our shampoo, for instance, it comes in 200 milliliter of pack size, more or less. Okay, and the question is, when they expand to Indian market, okay, which is different in terms of the major environmental forces, such as the economic aspect, for instance, the social aspect of the consumers, and so on and so forth. The competition would also be different. Remember the institutional context that we discussed a few weeks ago. Then there are two options in here, whether they can push the brand as to have the similar strategy in terms of being the mainstream shampoo. So that means they need to penetrate the small kiosks. Okay, imagine small kiosks. Okay, or that it can also be positioned as an aspiration brand. Okay, so not penetrating. That means they do not penetrate the small kiosks. Okay, but they only cover the high-end type of distribution channel. Okay. Because the product would be more expensive, the product would be more into top level type of product that includes the promotion and of course the price as well. Okay, so there are the two options that you need to juggle. Okay, so each option basically requires us to assess with the entire team members which option that we want to take. Okay, which one that is easier for us to manage. Okay, right. So that's an option, guys, in terms of assessing the right positioning strategy for our market penetration, for our entry strategy in the host markets. Okay. Now this is another technique to assess the positioning strategy. In here, we actually look at the effectiveness assessments. For this one, we need to look at the market size, okay, the market growth rates. Okay, we require some data in here, the profitability, the capability from a technology perspective, the competitiveness, and the marketing investments and overall effectiveness. Okay, so there are the two tools that we can use to assess the right positioning strategy for us. Okay, all right. Any questions, guys? Any question?
None from me, Eddie. I've enjoyed it tonight. Thank you.
Right. Good. Good. How about you, Davis? Any question?
No, I'm okay. I'm okay.
Okay. Brilliant. Brilliant. If you don't have any questions, we are going to discuss the product strategy in the next session, and after that, we plan to complete the marketing mix variables in sometime next week. And after that, we are going to move on with the operations that includes pretty much the human resources. That's basically it. And after that, in week 11, we are going to discuss on assessment. Okay. All right. Let's have a look at the assessment two. Yeah. I'm going to stop sharing this file, and I'm going to bring up the assessment. All right. This is the assessment. This is the assessment advice. Okay, so you introduce the company again. You look at.
Eddie, I think that's the assessment one advice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this one is the assessment one.
Ah, yes, my apologies, guys. No wonder I was a bit shocked, actually. Sorry about that. Let me, okay, let me stop recording. Hang on a second. I apologize for that. Recording back. Okay. Appreciate the groups who've been the group members who've been contacting me. Okay. And also appreciate the group members reaching out, the other team members. Right. Please keep doing that. Okay. either they're active or not, keep doing that. Okay. We do not want to exclude the someone or one or two members, right, in the group. Okay, and we just need to keep encouraging them. And I'm going to reach out. You'll see that I'm going to send out the broadcast communication. Okay, to to encourage people to get involved. Okay, right. And these are the elements that you need to deliver. Okay, and assessment 2 is the continuation of the assessment 1. Okay, and in terms of structure, you can structure your report that way. So the Excel summary, you do that at the last. Introduction. Okay, here you outline brief introduction of the organization, and then you discuss the summary of the macro environmental analysis to show the key ones, the key factors, the key forces that affect the industry. Okay, and micro environmental actors, again, the key actors that affect the value creation of your organization. Okay, and then this is item 5 requires you to have a more discussion in terms of the entry strategy, what entry strategy that you want to adopt. Okay, pretty much you talk about the acquisition or greenfield operation or joint venture. Okay, that type of thing. Not export anymore, because we are going to elevate our international operation to the next level. Okay, SWOT analysis. Okay, refer to the concept that we discussed a few weeks ago in terms of writing SWOT analysis. Now we finished segmentation and targeting analysis. Okay, business objectives. I'm not going to talk a lot about that one, assuming that is fine for you to write the financial, non-financial objectives. Okay, but feel free if you need help. I'm happy to discuss that. Let's discuss that, in next Saturday, briefly about the financial, non-financial objectives using SMART principle. Okay, and marketing strategy. Tonight we complete the positioning discussion, and we are going to continue our journey with the marketing mix variables. And after that, we are going to look at the operations. Risk. We discussed risk a few weeks ago, and you write the conclusion. Okay, so that's basically the assessments in a nutshell. Okay, any questions, guys?
There's number 6, SWOT analysis.
Yep.
And I understand when you're doing a micro and macro analysis,
yep,
you touch part of strength and weaknesses,
yep,
opportunities and threat. Do we need to have SWOT analysis again?
This SWOT analysis is actually focusing on your expansion for after you make a decision which market that you want to cover. All right, write a brief one, because it is part of the discipline in writing a business plan where we need to assess the our strengths and weaknesses. Okay, look at the feedback that I have given. I think broadly speaking, I mentioned about please relate strengths and weaknesses to the asset of the organization. Okay, what do we mean by asset? You can refer to the brand reputation. For instance, you can refer to the financial resources, human resources, technology, access to customers, access to suppliers. Okay, so you look at those areas. So this is an opportunity for you to refine. Yeah, does it answer your question, Davis?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, so you refine it. Okay, but you only need to focus on one market that you have selected in your assessment 1. Okay, remember assessment 1, you analyze 2 markets and you come down with 1 market only. So this business plan contains the strategy to enter 1 market that you have selected. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Brilliant. Okay. Greg, how about you, mate? Any question or you want to touch base after?
I would like to touch base later, and I don't have any questions now. Thanks, Eddie.
All right, fantastic. All right, if that's the case, then I'm going to off you from the hook. Okay, I'll see you tomorrow. Yeah. Brilliant. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Thanks.
Okay, thank
So,
you.
Eddie, are we just going to stay on this video channel?
Yes, I can. Or you want to ring you?
I'd prefer it if you rang me.
Yep, that's fine. Okay. I can just to let people know that I can do that as long as we agree on the, we have the agreement on in terms of time, and it is national number because I can't afford to ring international number. Okay. Now, all right, I'll do that after this. Okay. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.